What's up, family? Super Heru Radio family. Welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you're not too snowed in, rained out, earthquaked out, forest fired up, or whatever else is going on out there. Definitely want to send you love and light, and hopefully you're holding everything up as best you can as we are now in this auspicious rise of Scorpio. We definitely want to give a shout-out to everybody. But before we start, I just wanted to take a moment of silence for all of the children, unfortunately, that will be sacrificed tonight due to all of the satanic, demonic souls that are caught up in the negative aspect of Beltane, which is the real name of Halloween. So we're going to do that now. A moment of silence for all the unfortunate children who tonight and every other night will be the victims of satanic ritual abuse. Okay, and also anyone who's lost a relative this week, I definitely want to give a shout out to y'all, and inshallah things will be better for you, and they are definitely in a better place depending on how they live, you know what I'm saying, and I definitely want to send the condolences and everything out to those people who unfortunately may have gone through that this week or past month or whatever. We definitely riding with you. So, you know how we do. We always started off with the current events. One of the big events that's going on, or that I peeped that's kind of like manifesting. I'm a baseball player. You are a baseball player. Good night, buddy. You look great. I'm also playing. Sure. Sorry, guys. I'm doing father things. Yeah, you can get one more. It's been a landmark case. Big up to brother Wizzo, who sent me the link on it. And it basically is going in. That basically says that the Queen of England is basically not recognized as a legitimate monarch. Okay? Say it again. The Queen of England is not recognized in court as a legitimate monarch. Now, I'm probably preaching to the choir. I know y'all always knew that. But you have to understand, when something is put into the canon of their Roman canon law, it becomes a whole different ballgame. So now this brings into a question as her legitimacy as heiress of the Universal Trust Fund set up to her that's basically paying or gets all of the money taken out of Social Security. For those people that don't know, that Social Security checks and stuff like that, a lot of that is routed directly to her account. If you don't believe me, you can go online and check out Barclays of London, Barclays Bank of London, which is one of these zombie banks that's out here doing a thing, and you can verify with them because the suit kind of brought them up as well. And they were also brought up in court a little while ago. We talked about this when those African people started trying to take Jay-Z and Nas to court, and Barclays and Lloyd's Bank of London to court due to the fact that they was poisoning everybody's water in them African nations that he was touring a couple months ago. A couple of years ago, actually. So Barclays Bank is also the bank, as well as Lloyd's Bank, is also the bank that insured the good ship Jesus that was piloted by John Hardy Hawkins and brought everybody over here and brought a lot of the first indentures over here in 1555. Well, April Fool's Day, April 1st, 1555. Brought them over here as according to the writings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him. So that's definitely going on. So that is a big thing, because this is also why now, if you notice, they've been talking about what to do about privatizing Social Security. Because now that the jig is up, that this chick has been basically getting all the money, and the kickback money is the money that goes out to the seniors. She's the oldest senior in the world. So technically speaking, if they privatize this shit, then this is a way for them to get some of the money that she's been stealing to get back. So it's definitely a big thing right now. They're really bugging out about this. Another thing we got to look for is this whole thing that's going on in Libya. You got to do the knowledge to it, because there's a couple of things going on. And researching the family tree of your man, Gaddafi, after they did him in, and doing the research of the family tree of the original Moors of what now today we call the Arabian Peninsula, and why you have so-called Arabian from the House of Saud in your Moorish Quran. Why would Noble Jali even deal with these people? Because at the time he's dealing with them, they were not Arabs, even though that is the term of art or word of art that they were using at the time to foment the British and the American powers during the last war with Turkey. So specifically speaking, prior to a certain time, Faisal and all of them who were seen as Arabs, they were not called that. They were Beys, because a lot of their ancestry was Moors that were expelled from Spain, who moved down into the interior of what today is now North Africa, which back then was Al-Mamlaka al-Maghrebia, right? And then also at the time in North Africa, when they were kicked out of Spain in 1492 and moved further down, when they moved down to al-Maghrebia, which is now Morocco, there was a Moorish empire already established there known as Songhai. Songhai Empire that was started by Sunni Ali Bey, as well as and taken to its heights by Askil Muhammad, peace be upon him, Bey. When those Moors came in, they basically absorbed and destabilized the Songhai Empire by saying that they weren't as cultured as their Moorish brothers and sisters from Granada, and basically absorbed it all, and then from there turned that into what is now today known as the Kingdom of Morocco. But even when he did that, it was still basically Moorish influence up until, I would say, 1956. So when you look at the original pictures of the original royal family of the House of Saud, if anybody wants to see it, you go on my Facebook page now. I posted one of the images of them. You would see that you're talking about original black people. So the question is how they become Arabs, the same way that everybody do. They basically bleach out the family and hook them up with Europeans. And in the process of that, they wind up losing sight of what the initial situation that they started with was. So same thing that happens to us over here, same thing that happens to them over there. Same thing. So it's definitely a thing. So now that they killed the old prince through poisoning, they got a new prince up in there now. But this one, they killed the old prince because the old prince was basically putting the government of the Saudis onto the fact that the United States is basically trying to isolate Saudi Arabia, and due to its agreements that it's made with them, has created a situation where they're trying to see if the United States is if Saudis is trying to break away and start messing with China or whatever directly. In the process of that, they would then call out the markers or the loans that they gave to the United States dating all the way back to 1915. They can't do that because the United States don't have no money to pay nothing. So it was the last prince who was basically the one who was rocking around the time of Osama bin Laden. And actually, this is Osama bin Laden's cousin, the prince that just died, or wink, wink, died. And then the guy who replaced him basically is a guy who's sympathetic to the value system of the West. So he's basically saying that he's going to ease the sanctions where the Arab Emirate states won't push for what Russia and China is pushing for, which is that countries use gold and silver to purchase oil and fossil fuel. See, that's the thing about Gaddafi. When he was putting the thing out about Africa and propping up all these African nations with all this money, he was basically urging them all to switch back to the gold standard. No African country was based on the gold or went back to the gold standard post colonialization. So, they've been on paper money ever since, and you can see why their governments are so poor. because they keep borrowing dollars and stuff, dollars and paper money from these European nations like America, France, and whatever. And America, France, and Russia, or whatever these European nations are doing, they're not propping these people's communities up. First of all, the IMF, the UN, the IMF, and the WHO, all in the same building, all function from the same place. This is why nothing gets done. So you have the IMF, which is basically an aspect of the UN. So really, when we talk about the UN as a place where all of the countries get together, it's not really that. It's a place where all the bankrupt countries get together. All the sovereign countries meet in Geneva, at The Hague. So it's a thing where you got to understand that the way that the ecology is moving in that area, they basically are working full time to not allow any of these so-called nations to start to adopt the gold standard. This is a definite thing. Now, the funny thing about, well, not funny, but the sad thing about the whole Gaddafi thing, too, is the fact that when you do the knowledge to this guy and you go into, like I said, his family tree, the Gaddafi actually comes from a tribe. He's actually named after a tribe called the Gaddafi. So there's the Gaddafi, the Megahira, the Walafa, and then you have the Fezans, or what the Europeans used to call the Fuzzy Wuzzy tribe, is what they used to call these brothers. And these are black people, black Libyans, black Africans. The rebels, the so-called rebels that the so-called president is all hype about, that went there and killed this man and did all of this other stuff, if you've noticed, they've been killing a lot of black people, a lot of black Africans, a lot of black Libyans, national Libyans. But they're doing it, they're national Libyans with the red, black, and green flag that was fighting for their freedom. That was the initial assault from the people, right, who's rising up against them, the black people. But now you got these Al-Qaeda people, which, again, is the Arabic CIA, right, all of them trained by CIA or whatever, and they moved them in as the rebels to depose this dude, Gaddafi. So in the process of that, the other thing that they like about these niggas is that they're all racists. They're deep, deep racists, specifically. The name of the tribe, for instance, is the Harabi and the Habega. These are all Al-Qaeda-based tribes. And like I said, all Al-Qaeda is a bunch of Arabic patsies that the United States turned on, gave them the jump, gave them the snorkel, right, and basically sent them back to their countries to basically start up Al-Qaeda type movements to give the United States something to function and do in the Middle East. So in the process of that, these two tribes, the Harabi and the Habega, like that, they are insane racists. They're like the Arabic KKK. So they're lynching black people, they're burning black people, they bayoneting black babies, they shaving, cutting women's breasts off, all this types of shit. And your man, Obama, excuse me, I don't like using his name, that guy sitting in the white people's house, and his Condoleezza Rice, who is her cousin Susan Rice, okay, they are now setting up a version of Iraq, which is what this Libya thing is. You see what I'm saying? So really do the knowledge to this. The first black president is presiding over what will be one of the biggest genocides of a black African country in history. And everybody's like turning a blind eye to this, like it's not, like it's all good, like you shouldn't give a damn. But again, the same rebels now who they was fighting against, who was Al-Qaeda influenced, infiltrated the country, killed off a lot of the original rebel groups that was uprising or whatever, and then took the red, black, and green flag and started to use that flag not only to get rid of Gaddafi, but to kill all the black people in Libya. Don't believe me? Go on BBC, go on Reuters, go on Al Jazeera, type in Harabi, the Harabi. Type in the tribes ethnic tribes of General Omar Gaddafi and see what come up. You see jet black niggas in the ship. Okay? So we're talking about a full-on race war that they're trying to pop off in Africa. Because these Libyans these Arabs act like Africa ain't that Arabia or whatever, that all of that is not African. You know? But these Harabi people go all the way back to the Mamluks. You look at with their history and culture. They go all the way back to the Mamluks. And the Mamluks go all the way back to, these were the savage, so-called Arab people who was out there basically having generational feuds, killing each other over sheep, having sex with each other's children, all types of shit. And then when the Moors started turning Islam into a religion to basically start to civilize these guys, same way we did with the white man with the Bible, it worked, and they started pushing themselves out of the Arabian Peninsula, and we used them almost like a bulwark. Now, under them, you had the other ones, the Mamluks, who were half Arab, half Circassian, a.k.a. Slovakian Caucasian slaves, who were sold to slavery in the ancient world, in the so-called old world, and then wound up growing up there. You know what I mean? These people became known as the Mamelukes. So, again, they had no genetic connection to the pyramids or anybody else. These are the people who are the generational descendants of the people that's in Egypt today. Okay? These are people who came after you. These people who didn't know nothing about no hieroglyphs and none of that shit. When they would come across Egyptian artifacts or whatever, they would break open the sarcophagus, steal all the gold, rip up the mummies, and they are the ones under Muhammad Ali who made the deal with Napoleon, because Napoleon went over there and saw how these niggas was just sitting on stuff because the old masters or the old Moorish caliphate had been disbanded and now the Turks was ruling them. So he's seen that he could come in there and get a lot of artifacts and basically start cataloging and shit, because these Mohammedans or these Mamluks didn't know what they was doing. So he started the first Museum Egyptique in France and paid Muhammad Ali the money to keep all his people out so that way he could go and get all the artifacts out. That's how the first museum started. Then after he died, that's when they set up the Gamay a little while, maybe about 70 years later, to then start to translate the artifacts they would get and to make them look more phenotypical European. So they find African artifacts, send it to the Museum d'Egypte, and then they catalog the ones they want to put in public view. Then they take them to the Gamay and then get the artisans there to create a Caucasian version of what this original artifact is. This is how insistent your enemy or your adversary is in cutting you off from your culture. And how he is now using these disgruntled Arab people the same way. Because the Turks had their own version of the Mamluks, but they were called the Janissaries. In America, we would call them Shriners. You see? So definitely do the knowledge to that, because that's real serious. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, what they're doing to original people over there and how they're trying to set this up and make it look like these guys are actually they're free in the country, when this black man don't give a damn about nobody but his damn self. You know? Him and the black chick that he used, just like Condoleezza Rice, lied for George Bush to get him to go to war and was boning him on the low. It's the same way they got this dude telling bold-faced lies about it, and then he got his homegirl, Susan Rice, to come in there dressed in her all viridian green, which is the color of Venus, which is the color of beauty or vanity through war, and then she came up with the lie and said this is why we got to go in, and NATO got to bomb Libya. But NATO is stagnant, and it does not function. The General Assembly of the United Nations don't really have no power to do nothing. The only people that have any advantage in the United Nations is the Security Council. And the Security Council was set up by the same countries that set it up after the war. United States, Britain, France, Russia, China, Germany. That's it. And Japan, maybe. You know. And the Netherlands is there, and the Vatican is there, but they're just the quiet partners in that. So basically everybody else can just shut up because nobody else has anything to say. So because they don't have no African nations a part of that, because they don't have no Latin nations a part of that, because they don't have no ethnic European nations a part of that, it's another white supremacy. It's another mode of false control and making people think that they're about something. That's why UN it's useless. You know what I'm saying? Petitioning them to do anything is useless. If you want to really make it happen, you got to petition the Hague. Because the Hagues are the ones that's for sovereign people. The UN is for the de facto or insolvent nations like the United States. The United States is not even listed as a government there. It's listed as an NGO. Last time I checked. So you got to do the knowledge for that. Another thing that's interesting that's going down is they putting BP back in the Gulf. They just got the new contract to go back in there and start drilling again after he just put out a moratorium on drilling. They sending these devils right back to the Gulf, so get ready. Then on top of that, with the Queen thing, that's the other thing. The foreclosing thing now, that is, again, that's being put into the Supreme Court of Massachusetts, but it has national ramifications. So anybody that has gone through some sort of foreclosure or whatever, we're doing a class called Natural Equity, the literal metaphysics of home ownership and how to protect yourself from the zombie banks. To let people know, give people the direct info on how to, on what remedy you can get if you were duped in the housing thing. Because basically what happened was the Supreme Court basically said that all housing foreclosures in the United States are illegal due to the problems with the bank. Hmm? You know what I'm saying? So we're in a situation now where they don't really have a means of full-out control anymore. So what they're going to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's sad, you know what I mean? But in the end, what basically is going down is that based on the fact that all of the banks were complicit in the lie, it wasn't just the banks that they telling you, all banks function from the same system. So in that system, they function from the perspective that they were going to be able to keep the game going forever. They can't do it no more. They locked in. So based on that, anybody that is paying or foreclosed, or paying money for a foreclosure or paying a mortgage now, technically is attributing themselves to a fraud, which is why this court case came out in Massachusetts in what they call land court. So in a week, right, look, Scorpio came in, right? The Queen just got knocked out. They said that she ain't valid in this part of the world no more in court. Then they coming out and saying that the foreclosure thing is a scam. So what this is going to do is put a freeze on the housing market, which then means all the MSBs that these people was flipping, mortgage-based securities, a.k.a. living people inside of jail and then outside of jail, creates a stagnation in the country in which now the government might turn out to be the only allodial title holder, which can't really exist because the government cannot own property. The government can administer property, but the government is those people who are federally funded, and those people are allegedly servants. However, they've made everybody else on the outside of the government an enemy of the United States government. Because according to them, when they put out the term enemy combatant, it means anyone that is not in government. That's why they're arbitrarily killing people. The cops are arbitrarily killing people and blowing people up and all of that. You know what I'm saying? With this Occupy stuff and everything else. So look out for that. There was a series of what they refer to as plumes, steam plumes, popping out of the ground in the Midwest. specifically around Yellowstone. Everybody knows that one of the biggest supervolcanoes in the country is in Yellowstone Park. So all of a sudden, people have been seeing these plumes just popping up all over the place, and what they look like is giant, like smoke stacks of white and brown steam shooting out of the ground. This is evidence of some sort of volcanic activity, because the ground is releasing and creating blowholes to release the energy. So shit is moving. And not to mention that they just nuked one of their underground bases because allegedly somebody down there was trying to make a live broadcast or some shit. So these are some of the things that have been going on while, they got all the other distractions, Kim Kardashian getting divorced and is this one pregnant or not, or this and that. Like, all of that is that Herman Cain. All of these things are to take away from what's coming down. And it's real. For the people to say, for it to come in court and for it to come out and say that Queen Elizabeth is not a valid monarch, I think this is in London. This has ramifications for us over here, you know what I mean, specifically, because that means then the Pope ain't one. But people don't look at the Pope as a monarch, but he is. People pledge, anybody who pledges fealty, what they call fealty, which is another way of saying fidelity, to the Pope in the form of bending down and kissing his ring, which is symbolically bending down and kissing the tip of his penis, is the same thing. You know what I mean? So we're going to see how this plays out in England. Also, it looks like Germany is going to basically own all of Europe because they're the ones that's going to bail out everybody else, which means everybody else is going to be in debt to Germany, which is the exact opposite of World War II. Because after World War II, Germany destroyed everybody, and then everybody fell in debt to the United States. Then in the 80s, the United States wound up flipping that, selling everything, and then trying to take over everybody else's stuff. But in the process, started selling all of their stuff. So here we are now, the Nazis who have taken poise and control of the government within the United States as well as other countries, just so happens to come at the same time that the German nation is one of the richest nations in Europe. How can that be with, well, we know how that can be, but I'm being rhetorical. The other funny thing about the rebel thing is that the same rebels that this dude is supporting in Libya is the same rebels that they was trying to kill in Afghanistan. They left Afghanistan with the Libya. Now they're giving them arms, and they're sending them out to go Afghanistan brought them Libya. Now they're sending them Libya to destroy that. So that way they can now come in after the genocide has now come through and act like the hero. Like I said, it was a bad move for them in that way, but this is their whole ritual killing of the king thing, and they got to keep it going. So now that we're leaving the O month and going into the end month of Jason, this is the end of Jason in their highest point. So now they got to go out. So case in point, other day I was watching a movie called Red. And in this movie, it's about it comes from a graphic novel, a comic book, that they adapted into a movie. And remember, I was telling you everything, all of the stuff, the high potent stuff that they pushing come from books or comics, specifically. Books, comics, and graphic novels. There's very few, like, regular screenplays, stuff that's written specifically as a movie that's coming out anymore. Part of it's because they're lazy. But anyway, this movie is about a bunch of retirees who are registered, who are labeled Red. Red stands for, in the movie, retired and extremely dangerous. So they want to kill this guy, Bruce Willis, and then he has to bring back all the old retirees, and they got to go break in the CIA, blah, blah, blah. So there's one character, the John Malkovich character, is like the ultra-paranoid, militia-type character or whatever. But there's a scene in it where he is where they talking, and Bruce Willis's shorty goes to use the phone. So he starts screaming up Bruce Willis, talking about how she's going to get on the phone. They're going to upload it to the voice recognition software. They're going to send that to Censor. Once Censor clarifies the data through the voice recognition, they're going to upload that to the Interpol. The Interpol is going to hit that back to the FBI, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get the satellite, and then boom. So as soon as he said that, he seen a helicopter. So he grabs the helicopter, and then he says, and then he calls out the name on the bottom. So they're like, yo, you bugging. There ain't nothing. So then they go to another place, and eventually turns out that it's the same helicopter, and that they are being surveilled, and that he was right. The number that he called out was November 90748, Charlie. The NATO phonetic alphabet, for those people that don't know, is when you are saying letters, you say a word that is synonymous with the letter you're using. So N would be November, and C then would be Charlie, B would be Bravo, Z would be Zulu, so forth and so on. You've seen it in movies, right? But when I did the knowledge to it, I realized that it's actually a date. November 9th, 7:48, Central. Charlie is C. C is Central Time, right? So I started doing the knowledge to that. I started looking up what was going on November 9th, because I know Super Tuesday is coming up, and that's usually either the 4th or the 9th or the 15th or something in November. So I'm thinking it's something like that. So I started doing the knowledge. I find out that they happen to be doing a nationwide preparation emergency test where they're trying to shut down the internet and everything else, which is what we said they would do when they first did it in Egypt. But it just so happens that on the same day they're doing that, G1.9 / YU55 / Comet Elenin / Blue Kachina is going to be as closest to the planet as it makes its pass right before it slingshots past us out back into the greater solar system. But what this means is that this again is happening on this day. So then when I did the knowledge to that as well, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, they doing that on the day. What else are they doing? What else is going on on November 9th? That they want to shut everything down. They're also running a nationwide or worldwide tsunami preparation drill, with the emphasis of a lot of the early warning sites being put in tune to Alaska. So what this is telling me is that they're trying to run all of this concurrently because they may not want anybody to have any technological ability to look at this thing, because this thing may manifest or pop out in a way where you don't really see it till it's there, and then it's like that on some second sun type stuff. So this is based on the projections, all right, that they've been putting out. You can go to the NASA website. You can go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, that's jpl.com. You can also go to another thing I wrote down, hold up, where you could hear it. Had the website. Yes, stereo-ssc.nas.com. stereo-ssc.nas.com. And you can attune an audio scope to Elenin. And for some reason, recently, this is one of the only, for the past 2 weeks, was like when they started this. And they've never really done this for any other anomaly. But like I said, this thing is a hyperbolic anomaly, meaning that this is something that never really happened before. So they're just as caught up and scared as everything else, but they have policy not to tell the people nothing. So this event, whatever it will manifest as, for whatever reason, got them enough where they're talking about they want to pump this as a national emergency, in a sense. Well, not necessarily national emergency, as a drill. But we know the last time they ran a drill like this, you know what I'm saying, was when they did the whole 9/11 thing, when they ran all of the drills. They ran like 20-some-odd drills, of which the purpose of the exercise was planes crashing into a building. It just so happens that it allegedly happened like that. So, who knows? The other aspect of this is that 9/11 for us is 11/9 for the rest of the world. You understand? Which also gives more weight and credence to this dialogue that we're having. Whether or not it manifests as to something, let's say, devastating, I hope not. You know, I don't feel that it's going to manifest in a physical space where it's going to distort the rotational field or orbital field of the other planets as it does, because this allegedly, based on the telemetry and the trajectory of it, is kind of just how it does. It's actually, get into the math of it. Okay, Elenin, they talked about on 10/16/2011, and at that time it was 0.23 astronomical units, 23, which is 23 million astronomical units, which is like 100 million or whatever. E Honda, which is the other aspect of it, right, was peeped on 8/16/2011, right? But that one was 0.06 astronomical units. This one, U.55, which is, again, Elenin in its now closer phase, is 0.0023 astronomical units. So it's actually a little closer. This thing is going to be closest to it was closest to the sun on 9/11/11. It's going to pass between us and then it passed between the sun on 9/26/2011. So now the orbital line in which the Earth makes its rotation is going to be at 12:01 a.m., which is universal time on 11/9/11. See what I'm saying? So this 11/9/11 is actually a mirror sequence in the redundancy, because it seems in the tetrahedral redundancy, meaning the sequence of numbers that keep coming up. This 9/11, this 222, this 555, this 314, this, these different numbers, these ones that keep popping up in your individual life, these are all evidence of the fact that it's almost like the record was skipping and then somebody kind of put it back on place, and now it's starting to level out and play right, which is why this thing is manifesting. So because whatever inside of us is getting to the point of a crescendo that we all feel, but physically the environment still exists where this is not being taken as seriously and as genetically relevant as we should, we have in some way physically manifested this occurrence that is upon us based upon the psychic frequency that was enacted through the 9/11 jump point.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? So what that then did was create almost a backlash in which, through tachyon energy, based on the explosion, because remember, the explosion was like mini nukes. Okay, it wasn't. That's why people was dying. The people from 9/11 that was working there with the dust and all that. Yeah, that was getting you too. But you was also suffering from effective radiation poisoning. So people's hair was falling out, people's nails and stuff was falling out. That's all kidney failure. That's all radiation poisoning. So they use mini nukes to pump this thing down. That area is still somewhat irradiated. See what I'm saying? And now, what? When that happened, nuclear explosions create tachyons. Tachyons are huge amounts of non-physical, universal, metaphysical information that travel backwards in time. That once they get to a point in that backwards alignment, that backwards then turns into a forward. So here we are again being manifested through this 9/11 through now 11/9/11. The dominant factor in it is the 9, because 9 is to born or bring things into existence. 9 planets, 9 ethers. So as this telemetry is representing itself, it seems like there may be some sort of, because this thing is not traveling by itself. There's 2 moons around it. You know what I'm saying? So it, or the energy behind it that is manifested physically, is just a physical representation of what is happening within us. And because a lot of us have not really fully taken the step, we, on a super conscious level, have created a physical event to make it where everybody got to bear with it. Which is why they pumped the whole 9/11 thing first. They had to jump the gun because they had to emboss their energy into the species mind pattern and then base it from fear. That's why everything from 2001, when we woke up that morning, we was in a different reality. You understand? A divergent reality that they used the Rosen Bridge to create. And that Rosen Bridge was the huge amount of energy and psychic channeling that they were able to do on that day using the 2 pillars, the twin pillars, the Heru twins, the right and left aspect of the tree of life, the pillar of mercy and severity. They collapsed both of them. You understand? So they're beyond severity now. That's why they seem like they have no limits in their depravity, because they've embossed an energy of fear so heavy in the world that everybody is functioning from that level. And the people who are, especially, are the ones who think they ain't. You got to be in constant vigilance of yourself, because it's a constant war, not just between the red and blue states of Republican, Democrat, triple blood, or whatever, but the red and blue DNA and RNA within your very genetic structure, your body, is at war at times with itself, because the RNA may be exhibiting a certain frequency that the DNA is supposed to pick up, and the DNA don't want to do that. So it becomes a clash in the hemoglobin, and then it forms haplogroups that then within you go to war with you, and then you wonder why you're having a bad day or you just can't seem to focus or get anything right. But because they don't teach us about bioluminescent biology, we look at ourselves the way that you would look at we look at the insides of us the way you would look at a picture of the inside of you in a doctor's office. A faceless person, right? There's no face. And the inside of the body and how it works. But there's no genetic connection. There's no eyes. There's no nothing. And that's how they do it with us. That's how we do it with ourselves. So we first have to understand that this RNA is being activated, is coming online due to this physical anomaly that's manifesting itself. These people are trying to act like it's not there. So all of the heavy shit you're not hearing about on the news. You're not hearing about the housing thing. You're not hearing about this thing. You're not hearing about the genocide in Libya and all of that. You're not hearing about that on the mainstream. And unfortunately, that's what most 85ers deal with. So when I say 85, I'm using the Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad understanding of that, meaning those who are deaf, dumb, and blind, who are easily led to the wicked way, who are hard to be brought to the right. So after this thing comes through, it's got to pick up velocity in order to slingshot around the moon and move back into outer space. So in that, there's going to be a point in alignment where we pass through its tail. You know what I mean? So this also creates an alignment between Earth, Mercury, and Venus. Mercury, communication; Venus, beauty, war, vanity. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it's any coincidence that they're dropping all this on the same day. They're saying that Deep Impact. So Deep Impact, first contact in 2010, the year we made contact, are all basically like the same film and showing elements of what we are living right now. When you do the knowledge to it. So if you look at those, the year that those movies came out, and you add those movies up, if you get 9s or 11s, something like that, that again is even further evidence of a redundancy that's taking place, that is synchronizing itself with us knowing superconsciously, but consciously with just thinking this, we use coincidence to dissuade it. So as the Earth travels into this thing's orbital plane, places like Bald Hills, Mount St. Helens, Black Mountain, Niggerhead, and they were talking about Niggerhead Mountain in the news recently. They were talking about that because that's where some of these plumes that I was talking about was seen at. So it became a big thing, you know, that you got to switch it to nigger, make it about race as opposed to what people was actually talking about it about. You know? So this thing allegedly is 47,000 miles diameter. 47,000 miles diameter, you know. They were talking a couple of years ago, they were telling you that the poles was shifted already. It's not true. The poles are shifting, whereas last year they were shifting maybe 42 miles a month. They are shifting now 42 miles a day. You understand? So sometimes when you in in New York specifically, you waiting for trains or whatever, sometimes these trains are being rerouted based upon the fact that a lot of the modern subway section is collapsing and it's revealing some of the older stuff that they built over. And that stuff is crumbling. So, you know, just to do the knowledge to that, why you be late sometimes getting there, why they have to stop sometimes, because sometimes the shit will just start shaking. So they stop the train to let the shake stop so that way it don't pop the track. Just in case the shake get crazy. So, yeah, so the Earth basically in this aspect of this shift is reminiscent then to me of the Earth preparing itself or preparing its southern end at least to buffer itself from the passing of this thing. You know, it has to achieve a high maximum velocity to make the jump. So if it don't, you know, so when it does, to do that, it's got to be moving at a certain rate to even get up to that. So think physically, you know, of you standing there and a car just whizzing by you. The faster the car is going, the longer the drag of air or pressure you feel. So this essentially is, you know, what's going down. to an aspect, What's another part of it? That Red thing was very interesting. Because the movie Red came out a couple months ago. So if you apply this to, let's say, the Nibiru hypothesis, and Nibiru is red, then you could see, okay, the analogy of them, and then it also being old warriors and old understanding, Bruce Willis and them old warriors now coming to the new, having to come out of retirement to change something that's happening now, in a sense, to save the world. So, however negative they want to spin it, there has to be something positive in it, regardless of how destructive or non-destructive they will make it appear to be, or it really is. You know what I'm saying? So when they talk about the second son and the Popo bringing forth through the rain goddess, its proper local, this is the rain of fire, or let's say coming through, because this thing has its own gravitational sphere. Like I said, it's got its own moons that's traveling. Actually, I think it's 3 of them. But in some of the images that I was looking at on Google Earth, it's kind of Google Sky. It's kind of hard to do now. You can see if it's still there. I clocked it at 53 minutes on Google Sky. If you go to 5 hours, 53 minutes, 27 seconds, and then 6, 10, 58. It'll show you the moon as well if they haven't, So when I saw it, it was like 2 on the left, 2 on the top, and 2 on the bottom, and then the big one in the middle. It's like bright red. And it also made me think of Sekhmet, which is why Sekhmet is always depicted with the giant red disc above her head, and she is dethroned and gave birth to Nefertiti, who took it even further, because Nefertiti then has the red disc, but he has the double cobras, asps, and 2 knives. So this also represents binary solar system on one level. But the reason why Sekhmet is chosen is because this thing is coming through the mouth of Leo. But the mouth of Leo is the mouth of Aries. When you draw a lion and you draw the mouth of a lion, like a child would do it, you would see it's an upside-down Aries. This is why Aries and Leo, you know what I'm saying? Aries is the first, but Leo's wind up taking the first position. But Aries, again, synonymous with red. See what I'm saying? So it all goes back to this Sekhmetian, energy. And then her giving birth to Nefertiti, who is the conqueror. You see, Nefertiti representing the head of a lion, body of a man holding 2 knives, with the red crown of the sun, the blue, and 2 asps or cobras, representing the unification of the 2 hemispheres of the brain in one, with the ferociousness and beastly majesty of the lion on the body of the man, ready to defend itself with 2 knives. Again, so symbolically speaking, this is a representation of what we are becoming. If we look at these Comesian and Dravidian and Hindu Kushite statuettes as more than just evidence of the fact that we were there, because our ancestors didn't just leave it there for that. These are physical representations of alchemical processes that exist within the bioluminescent nature of the soul that translates into the biomechanics of the physical arm, leg, arm, head. Which is why they got to try to seduce you into doing it, because they can't really come out and make you do nothing. Because if they come out and just make everybody at once try to evolve it, without some sort of giant trauma to mask their true agenda, there's things that's within us, like this Nephilim gene, that come online and start kicking ass, like in the Matrix and all this other shit. You just instinctively know how to do something. You ever look at certain vampire movies, like they'll have a character and she'd be mad timid or whatever, and then with regular humans and shit, and then when everybody vamp out, it look like she's going to die and she come and kill mad vampires because there's something in her. Like there's a gene in us that comes online to kill the devil. And it's in everybody because the devil can manifest as everybody because the devil is air, and air travels, but air cannot read your mind. It can only move aspects of your body and position you to create something from it. My uncle used to say, it's just one breeze that blows all the time, everywhere. Because where's it coming from? If there's a Van Allen belt that keeps it locked in place, in this place that we call the earth. And again, the earth is just a piece of insignificant, like, in the greater scheme, when you start going to places like Arcturus and stuff, that's when you are a giant, you know. When you're more than a giant, you're megalithic, like you're the size of a planet to live in a place like that. But there's something in us that has the ability to live in a place like that with giants and people like that or whatever and still maintain the form that we want to be in based upon our understanding of ourselves, because it's not like anybody else in the universe. Because if it was, everybody wouldn't be coming here. But the ones that get here and the ones that's working with the people in play are the ones that are non-physical and are transmitting through subatomic particles that are transmitted through radio waves, microwaves, vision waves, gamma rays, iodine rays, ion rays, Y rays, X rays. You understand? But ray is Ra. So each one of these rays is an aspect of Ra that they beaming at you. So they really shooting you with energy that's really you. It's not like they blasting you with fire. They blasting you with a form of light that is so high frequency that it appears dense and can alter the physical structure by burning it or whatever. But if there's something within you that vibrates on that frequency, then that thing cancels out. That beam don't have no bounce on you. And it is possible to achieve that. That's why the people who have ain't here. Why would you be here? A lot of people be very idealistic and very happy and very motivated, even coming from harsh circumstances, till they get here. And then this place, the demon on this place, just flip them out, switch them up, turn them out, and then they acting like they know more about this place than you. Would you hate that when you put people on and shit, and the next thing you know, they come back to you and start kicking it to you like you ain't know? Put you on, like they hipping you to it. That's when I'd be like, word, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's for me to peep. Yeah. And I'm not an asshole like that I'm always ready to call somebody out and try to say what somebody not doing. But I do peep shit. Just like we all do. So essentially all of these cosmic changes, philosophical, metaphysical, material, militaristic changes that are happening in the world are all aspects of what it is we're talking about with this November 9th thing. Now remember, they came out with this movie, I think, maybe 9 months ago. Maybe a year ago, something like that. Because I had the comic book maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So it just goes to show you how pre-planning is really what is allowing them to function now. Yes, the best laid plans of mice and men often fail before they begin. So says Shakespeare, But in the order of events and how things have manifested now, it's becoming more and more potent for them to have different aspects of distractions, like a race war, like a move movement that is on the surface, really moving again, galvanizing the power of the people. Yet you can't really have no movement if the police are telling you where to be. That's not you. Civil disobedience has proven itself to work in the time that it did, but we're not in the 60s. You can never do the civil rights movement again. You can only copy it and create alternate versions to appear as if the society in a whole is progressive. Yet a society that is progressive to all. So, a lot of people don't like capitalism. Capitalism is bad, whatever. Me personally, I think capitalism as a vehicle of all of the aspects that you deal with when it comes to that are vestiges of how you understand the sequence of events and how they become relevant, and then how you apply those to the circumstance that applies itself to you. If it's not anything that really applies itself to you, like we can sympathize with the plight of the brothers and sisters in Libya just based upon the fact that we can relate with the plight of the brothers and sisters in Brownsville, because we know it's the same, they're going through the same shit, and they being put through the same hell as the brothers and sisters that are forced in the ghettos in China and wherever else. However, China, which is a totalitarian, communist, genetically altered society, is doing better with their human rights based on all of the shit that's been going on, and based on how the government through the successive years has been killing off aspects of the population to willow it down to a manageable feat where they can basically have a tiered structure. The Chinese governmental structure includes the fighting Tong, the underworld, and all that. It's only in America that the underworld and all of that is not really, cool to act like they're part of the government and stuff. You got to do that on the low. Yakuza members are generational. There's some of them that become prime ministers in Japan. It ain't no thing. They be up in there with no thumb. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, no pinky. Going in, representing the people, meeting with American dignitary, and still be Yakuza. Which is, one of the, aspects of it, because there's different factions even within that. But all them niggas listen to hip-hop. You know what I mean? We have a tool that allows us to re-educate the world and put ourselves back on top as a dominant archetype. But we don't have no land or no nothing like that to show for it. And those of us that got paper like that is being held hostage. Them niggas is ransom. They can't help you. You know what I mean? One aspect of this is to understand the difference between your pineal organ and your locus coeruleus or locus coeruleus. They are one, that one is within the other. Therefore, you can get into one, but then to put yourself into the other is the aspect that allows you to bring more of your consciousness into it. So if you were to think about it symbolically, it would be the smallest dot, smallest black dot you could ever think. If you think about the pineal gland, you could think when I say the pineal organ, whatever image you see in your mind when you say pineal organ is what your pineal organ looks like. So what you might want to do is get a pen and paper and then draw your pineal gland. Then go online and see if it looked like what other people's or what normal or what society say a pineal organ look like. Because the society refers to it as a pineal gland. They want you to think of it as a gland, as something glandular, something that is not necessarily something that is the process of something or something that helps something in a process. This thing actually tells everything what to do. So, like I said, it's a understanding of putting yourself in the true context of yourself, which is the singularity that essentially we all have manifested out of. the nothingness that was so full that it was empty with substance. That's a metaphysical way of explaining the process of how nothing becomes something, and then once it becomes something, it goes back to nothing. But that nothing is always something, because something manifests always from nothing. Therefore, everything that you see physically is just a manifestation of something that came out of somebody's head somewhere. Therefore, an element of it has the same creative essence that helped create everything and everybody else, except the anti-life equation, which are those malefic entities that seek to make this realm the predominant realm of stagnant consciousness for depraved, degenerate, demangled, low with high technology beings to come and turn human beings into the sacrificial food that allows them, when they throw up into the ethers, to be devoured. You can't kill that with no gun. You can't kill that with no nuclear bomb. All you're doing is letting out more information. There's a scene at the end of the first Hulk movie, the one with Nick Nolte, where he's absorbed. He jumps into a lake after he's become a living lightning bolt. He has the ability to become anything he absorbs. So he grabs the Hulk and draws him into a lake, and then absorbs so much of the Hulk's energy that as he begins to grow into what looks like a jellyfish, which again is the image of the oversoul, the original you that with each tentacle a different version of you exists in a reality. But the overall consciousness, the real you, has created an interface for these different realities through each one of the little singularities that exist inside of each one of the pineal organs that are either active or inactive in each one of us. You are the Akashic records. You don't receive them. You reorganize them or remember them. Because remember, as Osiris, we are the dead, so we have to remember the dismembered pieces, the pieces that we dissed, the parts of our member that we cast aside to become part of all of this. Yet we chose to do that to make this better. Yet we can't do nothing unless the physical aspects of us is unified. So these wars that exist between these polarity spectrums of red and blue and all this other shit are just physical representation of the species mind pattern delegating what aspect of itself is going to allow to see the hereafter. It's bigger than just, what nationality and things like that we're going to be. That's good as groundwork, but again, that's only on a metaphysical level. On a national level. Yeah, we have to redefine. I think we have to even redefine what we think or what we say when we say nationality. See, as soon as I say that, the phone starts echoing. So again, this is what I'm saying. It's not about. I'm not saying it's not about that. I'm just saying that to get to that point, we got to get to the point within ourselves that allows us to realize that each one of us has an aspect to contribute to it. Yet we can't expect each one of us to succumb to the will of another to do that. That is how they do their shit. Hive mind mentality only creates drones. And that's what's going on. It's a bunch of drones doing a bunch of shit that has nothing to do with actually progressively moving our species forward. What makes it dope, what made Marcus Garvey dope, was that he spoke for original people, period, who at the time referred to themselves as Negroes. He didn't give a damn where you came from. But he wasn't a straight Mason. He came from the islands, so he was a mechanic. So people from the islands that's mechanics They dealing with the colonial aspect of it, so that G7 Lodge influence without the direct Prince Hall Lodge. They were never really denied like that. So there's certain things that they know that they don't tell the American ones. Marcus Garvey was the last person to be in the Tower of London. After he left, the crows, the ravens showed up, and they ain't never left. He was just like Bob Marley. These people grew up under the crown. We grew up under the eagle. So it's a different mode of resources. Each devil got their own way of handling their devil business. But some devils are more easy to work your bidding if they know that you can bind them spiritually. But most people place value in money, but what they don't know is that the devil print money. Yet any person in 2011, regardless of what we know about money, where the money's going and what's not there, whatever, who will turn down $1 if you give it to them. That's what I mean. We all still in it in a way. So we can't act like, just because we're striving to do this that we've done it yet. We haven't got there yet. We haven't decided who's even going to go. How about this? A lot of us haven't even decided if we want to go. Slim told me, using this as an example of how crazy black people are, or how crazy some black people have gotten. She told me she was reading this thing about Sandy Newton, who just put up this big stink in the media, in the Vogue, talking about how they racist because they ain't never had no black models on the cover. They don't have a lot of black models on the cover, so the majority white women for mad years, and how black women are discriminated against, all of that. But I'm like, ain't you married to a white man? What? Like, what you beefing for? Like, you black? Like you see yourself as like one of us? Like, and that's how I be seeing shit. I'm really simple like that in a way. Like, I be like, but haven't you met? That's like when you meet some of these old Panthers. I remember one time I met this old Panther in the library. We was building. He was going in on the devil, to the point where they was calling security to get us up out of there. So he's like, yeah, so let's go. I'm getting ready to bounce. I got to go meet my lady. We go outside. He about to jump in the bed with the white girl. With the baby in the freaking baby seat. It was like, all right, peace, young blood. Peace, black man. I'm looking at this dude. with this white, blonde Jewish chick, like, going in the bed. He don't even offer me a ride. Like, peace, nigga. What was this going in on the white? That's what I mean, though. That's what I'm saying. So what, I'm whack because I'm peeping that there's some type of hypocriticalness in that? Or that there's a lot of black people that look at shit like that. And it's okay, but don't act like that's making it. That's not making it. That's you getting by. That's cool. I'm not hating, man. Do what you got to do, but don't make it a rose if it's a daisy, man. You don't got to sit there and paint the stems red. Like, I'm a nobody's shape, nigga. It's a daisy. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do to it. And that's what I'm saying. We don't use common sense with shit sometimes. And it becomes a problem when you try to really be rational. Like, I've been, like, my queen goes through a conversation today where the person, it was crazy just watching and hearing how much love you could give somebody and at the same time them not hear it. And how if you got to be careful. Like, if you're in the type of relationship right now, and this will go for everybody, if you're in the type of relationship right now where you scared to talk about certain shit, you need to either say it or get out the relationship because it ain't going to get no better from that. You're just going to keep piling up stuff that you're not going to say. And eventually it's going to pop off. And if this person is the type of person that you felt you couldn't talk to anyway, then it probably was the type of person you should have been sleeping with or let that close to you. And this, again, is what we have to start doing as original people. This is metaphysical, that what I'm talking about. This is a metaphysical thing, knowing how to read a person, how to look at somebody and know if they're going to be on some bullshit or they're going to be on some bullshit in the future, and rolling with that. That's not judging a person. That's not putting a person in a box. That's just doing the knowledge to how you feel in that immediate, initial, pure exchange. If there was something that kind of slighted you the wrong way, that relationship is doomed. That's just how it is. That has nothing to do with you or the person. That's just how it is. And we're not real with ourselves, and we're too apologetic for other people's BS and other people's lack of vision, lack of drive, lack of understanding of themselves, lack of respect for themselves, lack of understanding who and what they really are. And then willfully turning a blind eye, blind ear, blind nose, blind mouth to anything you try to build with them on some real shit. This is why when you write petitions, when people go and try to get things done with going against a corporation, a major corporation or government, it takes them years to do it because they stop listening. They don't listen to you. Because to you, to them, you're not alive. They don't even look at us as living things. This is how disassociated they have allowed themselves to become pawns of puppets for power, man. You are witnessing the fall of empire. This is not a joke. This is not some fly-by-night shit like, oh, this is, everyone is affected with this. But when I say affected, the effectiveness becomes in your level of involvement. Are you so involved with this devil that you're willing to join his army, his police force, his task force, his Air Force, Navy, Air Force, Marine, all of that, to go over there and fight a new war, another war? Why are you so heavy on Libya? Why aren't you going to Syria? Why you want to go into war in Africa now? Why aren't you going in Syria? They allegedly stringing people up, killing people. No, because Syria got nukes. You understand? Syria got bombs. Syria got assassins. These niggas are serious. They've been ensconced in that place for over 40 years. And unlike Gaddafi and unlike them, they practice isolationism like Iran did to a degree and locked all them niggas out. So they don't really know what the Syrians got. That's why they don't really mess. They ain't really trying to mess with them. But in order for them to really go at this Iran thing, they got to destabilize it enough to be able to run sorties, which are illegal covert missions in which they can send munitions and ammunition to the effort in Pakistan or whatever to destabilize that government through the fighting or whatever chaos that may exist in Syria that they are forming, that they are putting on the people trying to uprise. This shit ain't that. These people don't care about. They don't care about us. Why they care about Libya? Cornel West and Tavis Smiley dissing the president now. Why are you dissing him now? Why you down with him? Y'all Masonic brothers. And again, all of this is going on in Scorpio, Mars, Pluto, Saturn. Like this is serious. It's a major occurrence. And so now the physical representation of these things is manifested in this metaphysical way. You manifesting, you understanding this godhood, this goddesshood. Now what? Do we just let them handle it and just go somewhere and meditate? Like that's what we're supposed to do? You're supposed to what? Join a group? What? Start what? Storing food? You're going to start now? What are you going to do? Get an army? Get a bunch of dudes? Start training now? You got all of that now. You got all these gangs and all that shit now. But them niggas don't want to hear none of this shit. And you keep it real, you can't even really blame them. You got a lot of brothers that went into alternative forms of lifestyles and things like that, and then got knowledge and came back into this. But prior to that, they disrespected a lot of people. You see? And then now, as they're trying to be quote-unquote righteous or kick it or whatever, everybody look at them like they're hypocritical. But that's hypocritical, because everybody is hypocritical to a degree. You have to be physical. You see what I'm saying? Speaking in metaphor is hypocritical. Like I said, I told my queen early, eventually this is going to become an issue, because from the outset, it was like you saw something. I seen it, but that's not my friend like that. But I love this girl. We love this girl. But this is not even about her. This is about us. This is about really us understanding the value of ourselves and not allowing yourself, myself, herself to have low vibrations around you, because it distorts your dark matter halo wave field. Gravity is an aspect of time, yet time manifests from the inner mind's eye. The inner mind's eye dwells within the temple. The temple is the body or the throne of Solomon. The soul of man is that which he understands himself to be. So you know, soon as she let it go, agency signs Selena. You know what I'm saying? Calls her and tells her, now we want to represent you. You know, use stuff or whatever. We want to see what's up. So we're going to see what's up. But again, as soon as you let something go, if you try to hold on to everything at the same time and make everybody happy and try to make everybody like you and try to be cool with everybody, that's not going to work, man. A man cannot do that. Real man, me, I'm not trying to say I'm a bigger man than anybody else. I'm just talking about me as myself. I cannot be around somebody I know don't like me. I can't be around somebody shit with me or the more they are more fool than the fool. Some more telling me that, you know, I'm of holding on to the aspect of history and the gradual dissolution of friendship to occur to maintain sort of fictitious position so that we Hey everybody, I'm back. Yeah, man, it comes back up to what I was saying in the context that when these people, like I said, I'm going in right now, and again, they want to stop what I'm saying just so that way I can go back and talk about it. But essentially, they are proving what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? This is a physical ritual. They are creating a ritual, right? This is Beltane. So this is ritual. You have aspects of these people. Don't think that they don't know. You have sometimes when I walk around, whatever I say what's up to certain people, say what's up to me. Sometimes I can feel like they know me, but not like know me like, you know, you feel like you know somebody from past life or some shit. But I mean like they know what I do, but for some reason they don't want to come out and say like what's up. So I'm not going to say, hey, well, how you doing? My name is Aseer, the Dugatez, I do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. because I'm not going to throw him. I knew what it was like coming up in this when you're trying to really get information sincerely and are led astray for money. I know what that's like. You know what I'm saying? So, sincerely, it's a situation where it's like, nah, if I get in a position, I'm going to do it in a different way. And the more I've stuck to that, the more issues that I've had, not from, again, the people, but from the given circumstance of the reality itself. The reality itself. I have seen instances where I have been in the situations on time and shit has literally broke down in front of me right when I was about to do something or something was about to go down, shit like that. And the person says the same thing. Damn, that shit was just fine. Like, what happened? Shit was just cool. Like, that's not me creating that. That's not me physically feeling something negative about myself and I'm projecting that I don't want nothing positive to happen for me. If that's the case, then my son's smile would not be that bright. So niggas can't tell me that it's always about what it is you put out there. No, it's not always about what you put out there. It's about what you get back sometimes. Sometimes it's how the fact that you can really genuinely give love and give shit freely, and people, instead of accepting that with gratitude or whatever, and accept gratitude or whatever, because I don't want to make it like you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, it's like, and I've had some jump back.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what was
because that's the shit that I roll with.
Right. It's not that they're scared of me, just literally. I was expressing that it was funny. I was in the car the other day with an elder, a good gentleman friend of mine, and he was expressing a story to me, and I had thought about a time where, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes I'll walk into a certain spot or I'll come out of a certain space. Sometimes more than not, it's a space like a yoga spot or a meditation spot or someplace spiritual. And you literally, like 3 people in the store will jump back when I walk up to ask them a question, like literally like that. And I'll be like, and this one elder lady told me, she was like, what it is you look like the spirit of Kali. She said, I cannot even tell you that you really, the energy, everything. She said, but it's a blessing, and you are so feared, and it's not to be. She said, you're not Kali, but you literally, the energy that you give off. So I laughed, and she was like, but you're so happy-spirited. And so then the elder ended up telling me his story on how he went to go and meet a Buddhist gentleman out here in Miami, and that the Buddhist gentleman was never, ever, ever, ever late to a meeting. So this one day, he is supposed to meet up with this gentleman, and he's late. So the gentleman calls the temple, and it's like, oh, my God, I'm running late. But in the back of his mind, he was like, yo, something's kind of ill that I'm late when I never am late. So he goes to the spot, meets my friend, meets Yahuda, and literally the man did the same thing. He jumped back like that, and he ends up telling Yahuda, in your past life, back in your past life, you look just like a Mongolian warrior that used to slay heads. And literally, like, it's so crazy because I knew something was going to happen today that was trying to keep me from meeting you, but you are the archetype, the image in a lot of men's dreams that I know. So that's why, you know, when you meet people of our ethnicity, when we meet you, it's almost like meeting the ancient version of ourselves, and it takes us aback for a minute. And it really humbled me, and it really got me to not, again, take things so personally, because sometimes I am not aware of what I represent to other people. I'm just in me, myself, and I. And for more people to be like, oh, are you Jamaican, are you this? And for me not to be, it's always very interesting that people will see what it is that they're reminded of in you. And it's for you to allow that experience to happen and not only take it personal, but allow that person to have that experience. Word.
Exactly, because then you could figure it out, and you don't have to take it personally, like they coming at you like who you are in 2011. Who you are in 2011 is still who you were in 2011 BC, but you got an alternative view, understanding. You got to flip understanding. Just like I said, we're coming to the 11-9-11. So 111 represents the BC, and there's the 9, which is us, and then the other 11 represents the AD. So now we're the culmination of that, because when you add all of that up, what is that? 9 and 8, right? What? 9 and 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow. Culture, way of life. So it always goes back to you understanding who and what you are. That's why the 13 is gone, or they try to hide that in Freemasonic law and certain magical contingent, because they don't want you to deal with the unseen aspect of self. Atlantis is just a physical representation of a time in which you have lost from yourself. So the search for Atlantis is a search for self. It's a search for knowledge of self. When you look at how the so-called plans of Atlantis that the Theosophic Society put out, you'll see that it's a place of concentric circles. That overall symbol that they're saying is the landmass, how Atlantis was positioned in so-called physical reality, is actually a physical hyperdimensional symbol of the pineal organ. So this is all about you. If you was to find a physical place, you would just be catching up to the physical representation of that. So symbolically, you discovering this thing is you discovering the aspect of yourself. That's what these niggas did. They had whole things that they refer to as the age of reason, the age of adventure, the age of wonder, the age of reason, the age of adventure, right? The age of industry, then the age of technology, then the nuclear age. Now we're in the what? We're in the post-nuclear age. So what can that be now? Where do you go from there? They can only go to desolation. They can't make this thing any better. Do you understand that nothing is going to get better than how it is right now? That's not me forecasting doom. That's not me putting a limit on what anybody wants to do or what it's already doing or what it's achieved or how much money they have. I'm just talking about the infinite now. It's never going to get better than that. It can only evolve it, and that's not what they want to do, so you know what they are going to do. So it just so happens to be a coincidence that they want to shut down the internet in Egypt and blame it on these people when they know full well that all of the Apple computers that Steve Jobs sent them niggas came directly from Silicon Valley or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because now the running story on him is that they allegedly outed him because he was going to come out and put a free application into the Apple that will allow you to tag into NORAD or some crazy shit. This is, some of the rumors that you see in the chatter mill of these militia groups. Because sometimes I look at their shit too, and how they talk about us. Because I'm not taking what they say about me as a black man personally, because they don't know me. So whatever they're saying about niggas being mud people and all of that, whatever, what's the science? What's the goal? What are you trying to get out of this fake shit? Because I already know that this whole white supremacist shit and black supremacist shit, all of that shit is just the mind game. What are y'all niggas really trying to get? You trying to get money? You trying to get gold? You trying to get land? You trying to get genetically into the future? You trying to get into the middle earth? What are you really trying to do? Not what you showing people, and what people, when I say that this is what they doing, they say, oh, he's crazy. They crazy. They don't know what they talking about. That's some crazy conspiracy shit. They have mind control the world to the fact that when you come across a real conspiracy, that you use the term theory after it. Where a real conspiracy can be uncovered and be proven, and people still refer to it as a conspiracy theory, like the crack being put into the ghettos in L.A. You understand? This is something that they have admitted to that happened, that we got on tape, that white people admitted to, taught them how to cook it, taught them where it came from, all of that. Do you think anyone in the white people went to jail? No. Do you think any one of these black people who died from crack or their family went and killed them? No. They killed the people who were selling the crack to each other, who were selling the crack to them. Because you know why? It's not just because that it's white people and black people have this, and black people in America have this fear thing with white people, because white people have become the natural predators of black people on the planet Earth. This is just how it is. So if I say that, I'm a racist. But when I turn on the TV and all I see is black people being killed by white people or other black people or Indian people or somebody seems to always be killing us. What's up with that? And why is it if I say that I'm a racist? But it's not the nigga that's putting his foot on this little girl and holding the gun to her head. That's not racist, though. Or the 2 Belgian UN workers holding the black man over the burning barrel. That's not racist, though. That's not racist. Because that was a humanitarian expedition. They were there to bring food and medicine to them people, and milk, and water.
Can you tell we're entering the month of Scorpio? Here's Scorpio moon.
It's funny.
It's still got Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising. Sometimes I just laugh. He's like, da-da-da-da-da.
Because it's real. I thank God for the situation that we have with the people, because I don't know what I would do. I love that. What.
I just love that you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people just passionless.
Yeah. Or be passionate for the wrong shit. Or they'll be passionate. They'll be or worse. You know, I want to support PETA. I want to pose naked for PETA or some other shit like that. Let's save the rainforest and the animals and the dolphins and the monkeys and the fish and the trees and the worms and the dirt.
Because right now I would do an ad for PETA for $1 million naked construction.
Yeah, but you would also take some of that bread and actually flip something that the people could look at it and be like, wow, she flipped that PETA money.
That's why I would do it.
People would know. They'd be like, yo, they flipped that PETA money.
I'd be like, it's PETA, not Playboy.
Exactly. It's a situation where we have to
know what you're comfortable doing.
We have to.
That's really the line. You got to know what you're comfortable doing all the time.
Yeah. Exactly. Because it's not about what the other people do. And those people that want to study magic.
I can't write. Say that shit.
She said some people can have friends. Believe for Christmas. And she can't right now. And that's cool, man. But again, that's something that's relevant to what happened to you as an individual. But that is a symbolic. I feel you. But what I'm saying is that the level that resonates to everybody else that didn't happen to is the people who did that to them in their lives. So what I'm saying is that if we are all experiencing the behavior pattern that seems to revolve around a certain frequency, meaning that certain people act a certain way, then that must mean that most of the people who are acting that way are coming from the same sphere of influence or the same sphere of relativity, that they are drawing a general consensus from, that becomes their basis of agenda. What we're talking about is the psychiatrics of war. You understand? Of how foreign policy is actually played out in a metaphysical realm. Yeah, we could do a question. Let's do it. Please, 404, you on Super Radio?
Hello, can you hear me?
Peace, I can hear you, brother. How you doing?
What's up, King? No, actually, I pressed 2, but, halfway through, about 45 minutes in, they came in and was like, you're in the host queue. So, I was just listening in today. I'm still riding with you. This is man. I'm doing my global world thing or whatever. I ain't in the States right now, but, like I said, I'm still holding down since day one.
I know you representing, son. I know you are.
Oh, man, what?
Be safe to you on your travels, brother.
Hey, foreign lands, pants still sagging like, oh, well.
Know what I mean?
Y'all will be all right. I know who I am.
That's right, and make sure you hold yourself down, man. Be safe out there.
Oh, man, that's all good. But, no, I just want to say love to the family, a little more, becoming a man before our ears,
I know, G. It's like this dude, every time he go to sleep, he wake up, he look taller. It's crazy, man.
Man, you see, man, if you look at the NBA, you got these LeBron James type dudes out there. So, hey, we breeding beats nowadays.
Back, man.
Exactly.
Keep bringing them back, dude.
We breeding them right, But, I'm just listening in, homie. I'm appreciating all the love you putting out there.
Thank you, family. Be safe.
All right, man. You be safe. You too.
Peace. Peace. 718 on Super Heru Radio. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Peace. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello? Peace. I can hear you, Queen. How you doing? Okay, I guess she hung up. Okay. 609, you on Super Heru Radio?
Hey, hello?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, Radio-Aseer.
Peace, brother.
I wanted to thank you about that movie, The Fountain.
Yes.
I don't know
Great
where
movie.
you find that movie from, but the craziest thing, when it started out, the tree that I saw in that movie, I called back a while back earlier in the year, still got meditating, and I saw like a tree with the sun sitting behind it.
The same way, right?
That's the tree I saw.
Yeah, it's a tree of life.
Yeah. I know that. Then I was looking at it, so wait a minute. I seen it somewhere. I seen it in the Avatar cartoon when Aang went into the spirit world.
And in Lord of the
I was
Rings.
like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sacred tree, man.
Thank you for that.
That's the tree that the universe existed in Thor. In the beginning of Thor, the tree of Yggdrasil. It's the tree that is basically like the Sephiroth. It's the tree of life. It's like the Sephiroth. So, yes.
Yeah, well, that shit is deep. That movie, I watched it like 3 times the same night. It was like, oh.
Yeah, that's one of the best movies on Morris history that I ever saw.
Yeah.
It was accurate, too. And it showed you that the Moors ruled both sides of the world.
Yeah. Now, the amazing part is, like, when he got up to the top, and then basically greed took his life, he got greedy with the tap. But it just shows you, like, what they got the concept of the fountain pool from now. The infinity pool.
Yes. But here's the other one. The other thing was that the fountain was also, it was really also about the pen, the fountain pen.
Yeah.
Remember, every time he wrote with the fountain pen. The fountain pen was created allegedly by Francis Bacon, which replaced the crowquill pen. Because at one time, all the Moors, you would only use crowquill to write. But he came and revolutionized it and created the fountain pen, in which the India ink could be used, which then created a different vibration that resonated in the paper that allowed the illustration of whatever was written on it to reverberate deeper into the consciousness of the person that was actually reading. Because only Moors could read back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was a thing where it was only a free people thing. So think about this. If there was a time, imagine you knew how to, like, read other people's minds, or you thought you was the only one. And then one day you somewhere and you have to come across a straight thought and somebody project onto you. In that area that y'all talking, you could be in Grand Central Station. It could be thousands, hundreds of people around you. In that one area, the silence may even be louder than what it is this person is transmitting to you telepathically, just due to the fact that it's only y'all in this specific space that's creating this specific resonance that only y'all is on. So imagine that now amplified by all of us now with this type of consciousness who are seeking to go from the pineal organ into the locus coeruleus, which is the dot within the dot. If we all can get into that, you see what I'm saying, individually, then coming together collectively to maybe do a collective meditation where we all do that, and then when we all open our eyes and wake up in that, we then do something. That's like what they did in the movie Inception. Only thing, they went to sleep. Instead of us going to sleep, we could do it waking up. So in a sense, us going to sleep is actually us waking up. And us then waking up is actually us going to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But that's what he started to Okay, thanks. He started to tattoo himself with a pen too.
Say again, King?
He started to tattoo himself with a pen.
With the pen, right? He started making a tattoo so he could become black. Remember when he was doing the yoga in front of the stars, where he just seemed like an all black figure, and then the stars rotated around him. It's all about him becoming the black man. Yeah, it's all about him returning back into the mental, which is the original state of black. Because he was even at the tree at the end. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you that it's us. But in order for him to get it, he did. He became the tree when he released himself and went back to the light being. But in order for him to do that, he had to shave his head, which is a symbol of obedience, but is also a symbol of rebellion. So, like certain Hollywood actresses will shave their head to show that they're rebelling against a certain form of programming, and then they rein them in, like Lindsay Lohan. Right, Britney Spears too. But recently, there was a thing in the news before they locked her up in the morgue where she was talking about she was going to shave her head for a role. Then a week later, she in the morgue in jail. They shouldn't do something to violate. So to me, that's like her putting it out there, she's going to do it, and then being like, oh, word, well, we're going to do this to you. So it's always a thing of head. That's why most black men in Hollywood, when you look at these black male actors, a lot of them be on some bald-headed shit. Or they make them shave their head. And it's not saying that all black men with bald heads is under my control, but it is to say that there are a lot of them in those roles who shave their heads, who do shit like dress up like women or act gay.
Yeah.
Or in all the movies, that's what they do. But Idris Elba ain't do that. Denzel ain't do that. You know,
I know that's
again,
funny.
these are just things I'm observing.
Yeah.
You know
like the other day, I was having a conversation with a queen, and she was telling me, oh, you know, she like Medea. And I was like, yo, my grandmother, when I look at the image of my grandmother, she never looked like no man. So how can you find those things funny?
That's what I'm saying. And you disrespecting the universal black woman. You turn her into precious. They done turned the original black woman. The world's mammy, they done turn her into precious. They done turn her into a mind control slave. But all that archetype is, that big black woman, what they call Big Mama, that's an image of Tuareg, who is the hippopotamus goddess, the mother goddess of all of Consumentu and the rest of them that came out of her. The one that was subdued by the demiurge, the loose spirits, who created the guff to steal souls and create the energy to create this illusion in this reality.
Oh, that's cool. Well, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. And keep up the good work.
You too, my brother.
Right.
Stay safe.
Peace.
And inshallah, we'll speak again soon. Peace.
All right, peace.
So anybody that wants to holler at us about the classes we got coming up on Wednesday, called Natural Equity, a literal we usually give a week, but if this thing happens on the 8th, the day that we would start would be the day they turn everything off, coincidentally. So to safeguard that, we'll start earlier. You know what I'm saying? So for those people that would like to attend or receive a recording of it or whatever, email me at houseofl@hotmail.com. and we'll send you the invitation to the class with the instructions on how to join. And then we keep it moving. The class is going to run for 4 weeks, the $1 for the whole thing. And if you can do all at once, $1, or you can do $25 a week like we've been doing. This is our 15th cycle, which is a year and 5 months straight of us doing this. And doing this, that anybody who comes to class and brings a friend with them can get in half off. those 2 people come in, one of y'all can get in for half, and then next week we can flip it. But either way, those people that want to participate, let me know. And also, anybody else that wants to check out some of the new material we have on the website, you can go to www.aseer.com, TIERS. For everybody, listen out, big up to Brother Ella Reese and the Academy of Cosmophysics. We're going to be on this show coming up. We're saying flyer on that on the 11th. And, on 11/11. And what else we have there? Oh, also, please check out www.sagasci.com. And I'm trying to think if there was... Yeah, shout out to Alexis. Make sure you check out her stuff on YouTube, Alexis K. Tyler, Vagina Power. Also, check out some of the interesting movies that's out. Definitely check out Margin Call. Get the bootleg on that. Margin Call is next level. It's basically the story of Fannie and Freddie Mac being absorbed by the government and how they used a person from the Jet Propulsion Laboratories who looked exactly like Jack Parsons. That's the crazy shit in the movie. The dude they chose for him looked exactly like Parsons, who was a student of Dr. Crowley. And he was the so-called whiz kid or genius or magician, they kept calling him that, who became that. And then Jeffrey Irons and Kevin Spacey is in it. No, he's the boss. Nah, his was the kid who did the math on it and figured it out. There's a book called, the funny thing, too, is that if you try to research Jack Parsons, they block you on the net with a lot of stuff. You get a lot of general stuff. There's a book they did called Sex and Rockets, which was cool, but they kind of glossed over some of the main stuff. But it was good because it showed the interrelationship between him, L. Ron Hubbard, and Crowley, and how they was both trying to bone the same girl and use her to produce Harlot of Babylon. So it's interesting, at least for that. So definitely listen out for the thing on November 8th. Get you some water or whatever, just in case. Stay tuned. And inshallah, I would say it would be between the 8th, 9th, and the 10th. So as 9 is going to be 11, 9, 11, you want to definitely do whatever protection or consecration rituals for yourself, your household, your family that you can. Do the meditation of the singularity that we talked about on the last show, which is you envisioning yourself going into this dot within the dot. You start in black, do your 10 deep breaths, start in utter black, move into dark brown, from the dark brown move into blue, then into royal blue, and then you'll be in the pineal gland. In the pineal organ, which is the royal blue color, you then look around or focus to see a small black dot. You then project your consciousness or walk forward to the dot to the point where you try to make yourself small and go into it the same way Alice in Wonderland did, was trying to approach to make her smaller to walk through the little door. This is why Lewis Carroll wrote that. This is why Alice was chosen as one of the representations of this form of meditation given to a child. So essentially, it's the same type of thing as we're all children of the Most High. So once you're in that singularity, you strive to look around and implant an aspect of yourself there. If you have a jacket on, if you envision yourself with a jacket, take the jacket off and leave it there. But then take something from there with you out of the meditation that you either envision or create while you're right there and see in front of you. Take that, put that, bring that to your chest in your right hand, and then after the time you want to leave the meditation, you leave out. Once you leave out of the other black, you back out of it. Don't turn your back and leave. Just back out of it. As you back out of it, start to close yourself out, and then you'll be in the royal blue space again. From the royal blue space again, you bring yourself into the lighter blue, from the lighter blue into the brown, from the brown into the black, and then wake yourself up. Try that and do that as much as you can, and email me and let me know if it's working. So again, bring something back, but you leave something there. This is a symbolic exercise, visualization exercise to be able to unify both sectors of the brain, to unify the RNA and the DNA that may be warring within you at times. So with that, say peace, and inshallah we'll speak again soon.